Before I begin today's video, I'm going to need you guys to go and hit that subscribe button. Thank you.
What is up, everybody? You already know who it is. It's your boy, Mocho, and we are back today with a new daily reading from the Holy Scripture. That's right. It is day 25, and we are going to be covering Exodus 12 to 13. 12 to 13. Alright? Let us begin. Passover and the Exodus. Negotiations with Pharaoh had failed. Pharaoh has taken a clearly intractable position which only the severes of the divine intervention can overcome. Therefore, God makes preparations to bring his people out of their Egyptian bondage by a demonstration of power. Sorry, I'm stupid. In which the firstborn of all living things throughout Egypt will meet with death. All, that is, except the Israelis, who God will spare through a plan involving the sacrifice of lambs and the use of their blood to identify those who are God's people. Death throughout Egypt and the passing over the Israelis will hurt He will add a mass exodus of the Hebrew people from the country of their bondage. The significance of the event is nothing less than the implementation of God's promises of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is the deliverance of God's people from their bondage in a heathen land and a prelude to the establishment of the nation of Israel, through which all nations will one day be blessed. Wanting this significant occasion to be remembered and symbolically reenacted by generations to follow, God here illustrates the Passover celebration. Instruction about Passover. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in Egypt, This is for you the first month, and the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day on each month, each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household. If any household is too small for a whole lamb, they must share one with their nearest neighbor. Having taken into account the number of people there are, you are to determine the amount of lamb needed in accordance with what each person will eat. The animals you choose must be year-old males without defect, and you may take them from the sheep or goats. Take care of them until the 14th day of the month, when all the members of the community of Israel must slaughter them at twilight. Then they are to take some of the blood and put it on the sides and tops of the door frames and the houses where they eat the lambs. At that same night they are to eat the meat roast over the fire along with bitter herbs and bread made without yeast. Do not eat the meat raw or boiled in water, but roast it over a fire with a head, leg, and internal organs. Do not leave any of it till morning. If some is left till morning, you must burn it. This is how you are to eat it: with your cloak tucked into your belt, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Eat it in hasty. It is the Lord's Passover. On the same night I will pass through Egypt and strike down every firstborn of both people and animals, and will bring judgment on all the houses that you were. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you when I strike Egypt. To be annual celebration. This is the day you are to commemorate for the generations to come. You shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord. At lasting ordinance, for 7 days you are to eat bread made without yeast. On the first day, remove the yeast from your houses. For whoever eats anything with yeast in it from the first day through the 7th must be cut off from Israel. On the first day, hold a sacred assembly, and another one on the 7th day. Do no work at all on these days, except to prepare food for everyone to eat. That is all you may do. Celebrate the festival of unleavened bread, because it was on this very day that I brought your divisions out of Egypt. Celebrate this day as a last day that I brought your divisions out of Egypt. Celebrate this day as a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. In the first month you are to eat bread without yeast from the evening of the 14th day until the evening of the 21st day. For 7 days no yeast is to be found in your houses. And anyone, whether foreigner or native born, who eats anything with yeast in it must be cut off from the community of Israel. Eat nothing made with yeast. Wherever you live, you must eat unleavened bread. Rules for foreigners. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "These are the regulations for the Passover meal. No foreigner may eat it. All slave you have brought may eat it after you have circumcised him, but a temporary resident or a hired worker may not eat it. It must be eaten inside the house. Take none of the meat outside the house. Do not break any of the bones. The whole community of Israel must celebrate it. A foreigner residing among you who wants to celebrate the Lord's Passover must have all the males in his household circumcised. Then he may take part like one born in the land. No uncircumcised male may eat it. The same law applies both to the native born and to the foreign residing among you." People given instructions. Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, "Go at once and select the animals for your families and slaughter them. The Passover lamb. Take a bunch of hyssop, dip it both sides of the door frame. Alright? Drip it into the blood into the brazen, and put some of the blood on top of both sides of the doorframe. Alright. None of you shall go out of the door of your house until morning, when the Lord goes through the land and strike down the Egyptians. He will see the blood on top and sides of the doorframe, and I will pass over the doorway, and he will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses and strike you down. Obey these instructions as a lasting ordinance for you and your descendants when you enter the land that the Lord will give you as he promised. Observe the ceremony. And when your children ask you, what does this ceremony mean to you? Then tell them, it is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, who passes over the houses of the Israelis in Egypt and spared our homes when he struck down the Egyptians. Then the people bowed down and worshipped. The Israelis did just what the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron. All the Israelis did just what the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. Pharaoh let Israelis go. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on the throne to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in dungeon, and the firstborn of the livestock as well. Pharaoh and all his officials and all the Egyptians got up during the night, and there was a loud wailing in Egypt, for there was not a house without someone dead. During the night, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, Up, leave my people, you and the Israelis, go, worship the Lord as you have requested. Take your flocks and herds as you have said, and go, and also bless me. Egyptians give aid. The Egyptians urged the people to hurry and leave the country, for otherwise, they said, we will all die. So their people took their dough before the yeast was added, and carried it on their shoulders and lean thighs, wrapping into clothing. The Israelis did as Moses instructed, and asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold and for clothing. The Lord had made the Egyptians favorably disposed toward the people, and they gave them what they asked for. So they plundered the Egyptians. The Exodus begins. And on that very day, the Lord brought the Israelis out of Egypt by their divisions. The Israelis journeyed from Ramses to Succoth. There was about 600,000 men on foot, besides women and children. Many other people went up with them, and also large droves of livestock, both flocks and herds. With the dough the Israelis had brought from Egypt, they baked loaves and unleavened bread. The dough was without yeast because they had been driven out of Egypt and did not have time to prepare food for themselves. Importance of the Exodus. Now the length of time these Israeli people lived in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of the 430 years, to the very day, all the Lord's divisions left Egypt, because the Lord kept vigil at that night to bring them out of Egypt. On this night, all the Israelis are to keep vigil to honor the Lord for the generations to come. God demands firstborn. The Lord said to Moses, Consecrate to me every firstborn male. The first offspring of every womb among the Israelites belongs to me, whether human or animal. Festival of unleavened bread. Then Moses said to the people, commemorate this day, the day you came out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. because the Lord brought you out of it with a mighty hand. Eat nothing containing these. Today, in the month of Evi, you are leaving. When the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites, the land he swore to your ancestors to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey. You are to observe this ceremony in this month. For 7 days eat bread made without yeast, and on the seventh day hold a festival to the Lord. Eat unleavened bread during those 7 days. Nothing without yeast in it is to be seen among you, nor shall any yeast be seen within your borders. On that day tell your son, I do this because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. This observance will be for you like a sign of your hand and a reminder of your forehead that the law of the Lord is to be on your lips. For the Lord brought you out of Egypt with his mighty hand. You must keep this ordinance at the appointed time, year after year. Law of the firstborn enjoined. After the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, gives it to you, as he promised on oath to you and your ancestors, you are to give over the Lord the first offspring of every womb. All the firstborn males of your livestock belongs to the Lord. Redeem with a lamb every firstborn donkey, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem every firstborn among your sons. And that days to come, when your sons ask you, what does this mean? Say to him, with a mighty hand the Lord brought to us out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. When Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed the firstborn of the people and animals in Egypt. This is why I sacrifice to the Lord the first male offspring to every womb, and redeem each of my firstborn sons. And it will be like a sign of your hand and a symbol on your forehead that the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his mighty hand. Bam. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was today's reading. So, quick reflection. So, God finally did his final plague. And he killed the firstborn. He had them kill lambs and put blood on the doors. So, when his final plague of destruction came down to killed the firstborn of every family and every animal, it would skip the houses with the lamb's blood. It had to be a male. It would skip that house and not do anything, no harm. And right after it killed everybody, all the firstborns, the Pharaoh finally let the people go. He drove them out. The Lord commanded they are not supposed to eat bread and anything with yeast. No yeast, nothing. So, for 7 days. And that's pretty much it now. So, they're finally free and they cannot eat yeast. And they have to sacrifice the firstborn sons as well. Their firstborn sons. Not sacrifice, but they're to give their firstborn sons to the Lord. Yeah. So, that was today's reading. It's good reading. Good reading. I wouldn't mind seeing some visuals. Seeing what people came up and what they saw, I would love to see some visuals, some videos. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I hope you guys enjoyed today's reading, because I did. I really did. Alright, so, yeah. You already know who it is. It's your boy, Mucho. And it's time for me to what? Skedaddle on out of here. Peace.